The concept of Trinity and how we can use it for our growth and development. The concept of Trinity tells us that there is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, each of which are not equal to each other, but separately each one of which equals to God. So the Father equals to God, the Son equals to God, Holy Spirit equals to God, but Father is not equal to Son, Son is not equal to Holy Spirit, and so on. So that's the concept of Trinity, the way it's presented to us by religious teachings. And if we try to see the same logic in to apply it to the knowledge about the triune brain that we already discussed, we might be able to actually use this concept for growth and evolution. How do we do that? So, in the idea of the triune brain, which also consists of three parts, there is one part which is the most primitive, then there is one part which is the most advanced, and there is one which is in the middle, connects the two. Each part of these three separately are equal to God. So the reptile is equal to God, the neocortex is equal to God, the mammal in us is equal to God. So all three are equal to God, but they are not equal to each other. So the reptile is not equal to the mammal, and so on. So next step, once we realize this logic, each part of the brain is strong and powerful and godly, but they are not equal to each other. And they only work properly only as a team. By itself, each one fails. And once we take the same logic and apply it from just the head, apply it to the whole body, we will see the same correspondences. There is in our brain as well, there is the most advanced part, like the most spiritual, the top part of us, the higher three chakras, is the connection to the spirit, and that's the part which is going upwards, trying to connect with the divine. And then there is the three lower chakras, which try to constantly connect with the earth, which are the part of which are, like, we consider them the most primitive part of us, the animal part of our body. And in between these two, the top and the bottom, in between them there is the middle part. The connecting point is the heart chakra, and that is actually where we as humans are supposed to be seated for the balance. Because if we follow too much of this impulse going upward, we will leave the physical reality. If we go too much follow the impulse going downward, we will fail once again. So the effective human is the one that is functioning from the center, balancing these two opposite impulses and allowing them to work as one team, let's say. And so the key is in the center. The key is in this heart chakra. The key is about balancing the two, not choosing the white or black, good or bad, but balancing them and living from the center when both top and bottom are activated and working to their full potential. But we're at the same time keeping this balance at the center. And that is done, like as it's described in every tradition, through opening your heart, through love, acceptance, and all that. That's what allows the connection between the top and the bottom. So in that Trinity, that same logic of Trinity applies here perfectly. Both upper part of our body is God, and the lower part of our body is God, and the center part of our body is God. Like each part of our body can be considered God or godly, coming from God, and But these parts separately, each one is equal to God, but the parts are not equal to each other. So they are separate, the top, the bottom, and the middle. They are not equal to each other because they're following the opposite impulses, up, down, and the center. Once we understand the purpose of the center, like where it's going, not up, not down, its function is to hold the balance, hold the center between the opposite impulses. And how do we do that? By being able to open this part of us up and hold it and keep our consciousness kind of anchored in here, mostly anchored in the center. Then we can spread our potential upwards and downwards equally, and that's how we progress and evolve, being balanced and centered and anchored in the center. How do we do that? By opening the heart. How? By learning to love, accept, and all those beautiful things. How? So to get the instruction on how to do it, we must again return to this logic of the triune brain, of the brain, which consists of three parts, in which again one is the most primitive. We can call him the sun, this part of the equation. The primitive part is the sun. The most advanced part is the Father. And the middle is the key, is the Holy Spirit. That's where the Holy Spirit appears from. That's where the Holy Spirit sits. That's where it all emerges, the center. And in this structure of reptilian brain, the brain of a mammal, and the neocortex, in this whole structure, we as humans are supposed to be anchored in the center, like in the brain of a mammal. So from that point, we are mammals. We're supposed to be anchored, not to try to sit in the top part, not to try to be anchored in the highest possible part of our structure, because that's not who we are. And the bottom is not who we are. We are this and that, yes, at the same time, but we are to be effective and to work properly as a human, to function effectively on this planet. We have to be anchored in the central part of the brain, and that is where the part that is responsible for our emotions. So the emotions, see this correspondence between the limbic system being responsible for our emotions and the heart. This is the middle of the brain. This is the middle of the body. Once we open this, the energy starts flowing and the two parts learn to cooperate. But when I give instructions to somebody to open their heart, they're like, how do I do that? Like, I imagine it, like in the meditation, I create an image and fantasies. That doesn't work. So, like, to actually do it, we need to understand that we have actually tools to work with the brain and with the functions of the limbic system, of the emotional part of us. So, limbic system, the mammal in us, is the one that's responsible for emotions. So, that is why work with emotions is so essential. Because if your emotions are chaotic and all mixed up, and you cannot actually make any sense of the paradox of each emotion, your limbic system is not effective. And if this part of you is damaged and scared and still working from as a 5-year-old you, it's blocking the work of the whole system. You will have no choice but to function in the lower segment of your brain for the rest of your life then. Until you learn how to open up the heart, if you can do that, or learn how to relax the limbic system, how to remove the confusion from your emotions, take each emotion one by one and decipher it into, like, understand the concept of each emotion so that it doesn't scare the mammal in you anymore. And so that when this emotional part of your brain is calm and fine and relaxed, that's what we call the state of peace, love, acceptance, and so on. So once the mammal, the limbic system of your brain, is calm and happy, then the reptile has a chance to send more energy to the upper part of the brain, and you can actually perform to your highest potential. So we don't try to work with the top of the brain straight away. We work with the middle, because the middle is who we are. We are mammals, and we are emotions. We are emotional beings, first of all, and that's our main power, the feeling emotions and having them, and learning how to work with them, not to just shut the emotions down, but to learn to deal with them and work with them and enjoy them and open up this valve so that energy starts flowing, and then we actually get access to get the control of this whole system. And that's the logic behind the Trinity and how we can actually use it for like basic exercises to advance our control of our lives. So I hope you enjoyed. See you later.